128 nurses begin strike at Kaduna Neuropsychiatric Hospital. And on the international scene, at least 36 dead, hundreds injured in cyclone packing violent winds in Madagascar. Hello, good evening and welcome to News Update on Trust TV. I am Fatima Ahmed Musa. Now, a new bill introduced at the United States House of Representatives has proposed that the U.S. Secretary of State work closely with the Nigerian government to curb what it described as hostile foreign exploitation linked to illegal Chinese mining operations in Nigeria. The proposed legislation, titled the Nigeria Religious Freedom and Accountability Act of 2026, was sponsored by 5 Republican lawmakers: Chris Smith, Riley Moore, Brian Mast, Mario Diaz-Balart, and Bill Hozenga. The sponsors allege that some illegal Chinese mining operations in Nigeria engage in what they described as the destabilizing practice of paying protection money to Fulani militias, thereby worsening insecurity in parts of the country. The bill further calls on the U.S. Secretary of State to provide technical support to the Nigerian government to help reduce and eventually eliminate violence by armed Fulani militias. It also proposed that the U.S. work with international partners, including France, Hungary, and the United Kingdom, to support Nigeria in promoting religious freedom, peace, and stability. Under the proposed law, the U.S. Secretary of State will be required to assess whether certain Fulani ethnic militias in Nigeria qualify for designation as foreign terrorist organization under U.S. law. Now, the displaced persons from farming and herding communities in Mangu local government area of Plateau State are yearning to return to their homes years after violence forced them out of their communities. The two groups, Magavul and Fulani, have been at loggerheads since 2022 following attacks that claimed hundreds of lives, destroyed property, and displaced thousands. Since the crisis erupted in the local government, both sides have accused each other of carrying out atrocities against their members. Ado Musa completes the report.
Speaking at a stakeholders engagement held in Thursday in Mangu to promote peaceful coexistence, leaders of Magavul and Fulani communities appealed to security authorities to create conditions that will allow displaced persons to return to their homes. They said hundreds of their members remain displaced and are eager to resume farming and rebuild their lives.
This should continue. We are tired of shedding blood. We are tired of shedding tears. We are appealing that let this peace continue. And just like the youth said, the farming season is fast approaching. Some of our people are still displaced. We are still pleading. And if there's any way that you can help for these our people to go and farm, possibly let them go back to their ancestral land, we'll appreciate it.
There was a crisis some years ago, and our people were driven out of their communities. They want to return to their homes. We are appealing to the GOC because for the past 3 years, our people have been sleeping under trees. We want to go back and continue our lawful activities. This will help restore confidence and peace. The chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Kano, in Panshi local government area, Reverend Ephraim Ngom, outlined steps toward restoring peace between the two communities.
Youth leader and the women leader from Mangu stood up to plead if their people can be returned back. The Miete Allah, the Fulanis, also stood up to plead if their people can be returned to their place. So the question I am asking is, who is occupying the space where the Magavul man has been displaced? And who is occupying the space where the Fulani was displaced? Can we be sincere to ourselves? In our non-community,
can we tell ourselves the truth? In communities where Fulani people were displaced during the violence, can the leaders ask their people to vacate those spaces to allow them return? Likewise, in places where Magavul members were displaced, Can community leaders ask their people to leave those areas so they can return to their homes?
I believe that if from the both sides, these ones will say nobody should occupy this land, and this side will say nobody should occupy this Mogabul land, sincerely, we will have enduring peace.
While both groups acknowledge the efforts of security agencies in restoring relative calm in the Mangu area, the General Officer Commanding 3 Division emphasized the need for all parties to embrace peace and learn to live together harmoniously. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Now, troops of the 3rd Brigade of the Nigerian Army have rescued 8 of the 10 guests abducted by suspected terrorists during a wedding ceremony in Dabawa, Shanono local government area of Kano State. Army sources said the gunmen, reportedly dressed in military camouflage, invaded the venue and whisked away the victims. Following a distress call, troops advanced to the area and engaged the attackers around Garu village in neighboring Katsina State. The soldiers pursued the assailant up to the Katsina-Gidam-Mutun Air Road axis before contact was lost. Operations are ongoing to rescue the remaining victims and prevent further attacks in the area. Residents of Turan in Kwande local government area of Benue State have called on both the state and federal governments to deploy additional security personnel to protect them from further attacks. This follows a series of recent unprovoked assaults on communities in the area, which have claimed at least 22 lives, including a police officer. Trust TV's correspondent in Benue State, who visited the affected communities, now reports.
These are some of the deserted communities of Nyihimba, Anwase, Tomotan and Abande in Kwande local government, which have suffered repeated attacks by unknown gunmen suspected to be armed herders. Residents and local authorities are calling for an increased security presence to prevent further violence. They emphasize the need for sustained and coordinated strategies to tackle criminal activities, particularly along the state's waterways and border communities.
I want the government to know that the security people that are being posted here are not up to. They are not doing what is expected of them to be doing. Why I say so is that anytime we are to experience an attack, the security here will have one excuse or the other that will make them not to be present. And immediately they are absent, they will experience an attack. Government should at least pressurize them to put in more.
Surely they are not protecting. They are not for our own interest. They told us that they are the men that is on operation. We should not be worried. Nothing will happen. They are not helping us.
They destroy stores and store people properties. There was a lot of stealing. All the stores around here were disrupted and took away many things that are worth out millions of nairas.
I'm a typical farmer, so let the government please go and keep the security across the line. There's a river overside there called More. If there's enough security by the side More, we'll be okay.
The Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of operations, Benue State Command, says communities across the state have endured years of repeated attacks by armed groups, resulting in numerous deaths and the displacement of thousands. He adds that the attackers often use inland waterways as escape routes into neighboring states and even across the border into Cameroon.
At the Cameroon boundary, very close to Jukun area of Taraba, there is an exit and the entry point of these armed herders. So if we can deploy the military to secure those areas, I think they will not be able to penetrate this axis.
Days after the attacks, Governor Hyacinth led a high-level delegation, including security chiefs, to the area. During the visit, he placed several measures, including the construction of the Nyihimba and Wase-Abande Road, to ease movement and enhance security patrols and rapid response. He assured residents of relief in the near future, stating that President Bola Tinubu has been briefed on the situation and has directed reinforcements to the area.
What you are seeing now is the resurfacing of the attacks, and this is why I have to be here myself to encourage people to strengthen them and to assure them that as we started on their return to their ancestral homes, in part, and the relative peace they are enjoying, I would ensure that a very tall level of peace is retained here, and they are highly supported, and with the different security apparatuses we have, we'll continue to assist them so that they move out and do their work.
Benue State, known as the food basket of the nations, plays a critical role in Nigeria's food security. Residents fear that continued attacks could disrupt farming activities, drive up food prices, and threaten their safety in their ancestral homes.
Media advisor to former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has alleged that security agents attempted to arrest his principal at the airport on his return from Cairo. According to Muyiwa Aide, operatives moved to take El-Rufai into custody as he disembarked from the aircraft. He claimed that the former governor declined to go with them, insisting on a formal invitation and clear explanation for the action. Aide further alleged that following El-Rufai's refusal, the security operatives turned to one of his aides and seized the former governor's passport.
I'm his chief of staff.
Now, the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Labour Party's Interim National Committee, led by Senator Nadi Usman, have visited the party's National Secretariat to assess damage caused by vandal attack on Tuesday night. Suspected vandals reportedly broke into the premises, destroyed property and disrupted operations. During the inspection, Senator Usman and NLC official described the incident as unfortunate and pledged to strengthen security to prevent a reoccurrence. They assured party members that measures are being taken to protect the secretariat and staff. The attack comes amid rising tensions within the Labour Party. Party leaders have urged calm and promised transparency in handling the situation. Security agencies are yet to comment or identify those behind the attack.
The day we took over the office, I saw quite a number of documents, but now they've disappeared. So for me to know what was in there, it would take me a bit of time. But honestly, it's a really very sad, it's a very, very sad thing to have happened. We are not against anybody. We want to work with everybody. Anybody who wants to work with us, we just want to build the party. And for those of them who have the interests of the party at heart and are willing to work with us, we are working together.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has departed Abuja for Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, to represent President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the 2026 African Union Summit. The trip was confirmed in a statement by Stanley Okocha, Senior Special Assistant to President on Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President. The summit, themed Assuring Sustainable Water Availability and Safe Sanitation Systems to Achieve the Goals of Agenda 2063, will focus on water management, sanitation and development across Africa. Shettima will attend the 39th Ordinary Session of AU Heads of State and Government at the 30th AU General Assembly scheduled for February 14th and 15th. He also expected to hold bilateral meetings with political and business leaders to strengthen Nigeria's diplomatic and economic ties on the continent. The Vice President is traveling with cabinet ministers and senior officials and will return to Nigeria after the summit. Now move on to more stories. Healthcare service at the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Barnawa, Kaduna, have been disrupted as 128 nurses commenced an indefinite strike over unresolved welfare and career structure issues. The nurses under the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, NANNM, said the action followed management's failure to address grievances they have raised over 2 years. Unit chairman of the association in the hospital, Comrade Nwereji Uchechukwu, said repeated letters to management received no response, adding that some of the union's complaints were reportedly removed from official files. Among the grievances are the placement of newly employed nurses on cohort 6 instead of cohort 7, inconsistency in staff designation, and the alleged removal of principal nursing officer cadre from the promotion structure. Reacting, the hospital's head of finance and account, Lucky Abumere, confirmed the strike and said the matter had been escalated to the Federal Ministry of Health, noting that the absence of a governing board has slowed resolution. The Savannah Center has pushed for urgent reforms to strengthen Nigeria's democratic system, security structure, foreign policy, direction, and the credibility of the 2027 general elections. The group asked political partners to respect internal democracy. It warned that mass defections into one dominant party could weaken opposition voices and upset democratic balance. The center also urged the executive, legislature, and judiciary to work together to tackle insecurity, corruption, and abuse of power. It called on the courts to deliver timely justice and rebuild public confidence. On security, the center noted recent government steps such as increased funding and new security outfits. Still, it raised concern over the spread of terrorism and banditry into parts of southern Nigeria. It recommended a review of the national security strategy and called for non-military steps like job creation and economic investment for young people. On foreign policy, the group said Nigeria needs a clearer voice on the global stage. It asked for stronger visibility for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and a full review of Nigeria's diplomatic direction ahead of 2027. As the election draws closer, the center urged INEC to stay independent. It warned parties against malpractice, encouraged peace messaging, and asked Nigerians to reject voter apathy and take part in credible violence-free poll.
So, if you want democracy, the best is make sure that the political parties, which are the vehicles of selecting the leaders, there must be discipline. There must be discipline in that there must be internal democracy, respect for the wishes of the people. If the parties do not portray this, definitely you are going to end up having leaders that are not fit, that are not suitable, and are not capable. The issue of national security is very germane because everybody knows the insecurity, the level of insecurity in this country is pervasive. It's throughout the country. It used to be some parts of the country, but now it has engulfed the whole country. And I think everybody has to put his hand and heart on deck. That's why we are calling on the National Security Advisor to look at the security architecture, what is left behind. We have to bring so many people, all shades of opinion on board, so that we can talk about the national security, which is the way forward. It is not just kinetic. No, there are certain things that we should do, non-kinetic things that government can do to reduce the tension and also control the insecurity in the country.
The basic concept behind collaboration and multilateralism in terms of joint military operation is fantastic. Nigeria has also done it. We went to Liberia, we went to Sierra Leone. These are joint efforts. However, Nigeria never interfered into the internal matters of whatever happened. You will recall that in Liberia, in spite of the fact that Nigerians were against Charles Taylor because of his atrocities and all that, Nigeria never interfered into who became their leader, and eventually this same Charles Taylor that was ravaging and killing Nigerians became the president. Therefore, you do not interfere into the internal matters, the sovereignty of a country. However, the concept of bringing military troops together to solve a common problem is welcome and acceptable.
Now, in line with the federal government's drive for economic diversification, the Nigerian Customs Service has reopened the Kamba border corridor in Kebbi State. The reopening was carried out by the Controller of Customs, Kebbi Area Command, M.M. Ibrahim, following a directive from the Controller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi. The Controller General said the development is expected to boost revenue generation, create employment opportunities, and strengthen Nigeria's leadership position in regional trade, while also enhancing cooperation with neighboring countries. The report.
In compliance with the directives of Mr. President, we gathered here today in Kamba to witness the movement of transit goods from Samia to Kamba.
According to the Controller General, the reopening of the Samia-Kamba corridor aligns with the President Bola Tinubu's economic diversification agenda. He explained that the initiative will improve revenue collection, create jobs, and enhance the capture of trade and migration data. Adewale Adeniyi further noted that the move will consolidate Nigeria's leadership role in regional trade and deepen cooperation with neighboring countries.
Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Ahmed Bola Ahmed Tinubu, DSFR, graciously approved the opening of this Samia border to allow legitimate transit goods to Niger via Kamba. This has shows his demonstration of taking our neighbors, Niger and Benin, with utmost respect, and is a good listener, is a father, and he has answered their calls to him for opening of this border.
Reacting to the development, the Kebbi State Governor, Nasir Idris, represented by the Chief of Staff, Attahiru Machido, welcomed the decision, describing it as a significant step toward economic prosperity for the state. He noted that the reopening of the border will expand business opportunity, particularly for youth and women in border communities.
Today is like a Salah day for us because this is the live wire of commerce in this axis. Both sides have suffered tremendously due to the closure of this route. Being president, being supporter of whatever his people want and what governor is always pursuing, after lengthy discussion, long time, security clearance and what have you, today that has come to pass. We are witnessing the reopening of this commercial route, which is the live wire of commercial activities for both people from both sides.
The reopening of Kamba border post is expected to stimulate commercial activities in the area and significantly increase trade between Nigeria and other West African countries. From Benue, Kebbi, Hawa Hassan Kangiwa, Trust TV.
Now away from Nigeria, the cyclone Gezena has killed at least 36 people and injured hundreds in Madagascar, authorities said on Thursday. The violent storm made landfall on Tuesday in the eastern coastal city of Tomasina, with the winds reaching 250 kilometers per hour. More than 8,000 people have been displaced and over 18,000 homes were destroyed, with another 50,000 damaged or flooded. Colonel Michael Randrenirina, Madagascar's new leader, called for international solidarity after the cyclone ravaged up to 70% of Tomasina and its surroundings. Humanitarian teams have been clearing blocked roads as emergency efforts continue. And with that, we have come to the end of News Update on Trust TV. Do not forget to watch and catch us across all our social media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news. I am Fatima Ahmed Musa. Thank you for watching.